Welcome back. I'm Mike Wiggins, and I'm here with having a conversation with Chip Simmons, who is running for sheriff of Escambia County. We've talked about a little of the history of Chip's career and his vision for Escambia County. And I do have a question that I think people at home really would like to hear what you have to say. Following the tragic shooting at NAS, we learned of the extreme heroism demonstrated by members of the Sheriff's Department. And I've noticed in the news lately, these brave officers have been recognized, not only by the community, but by the department. Chief, you were on the scene immediately. Give us your thoughts about that day.
Well, you know, it's December the 6th, as they say, that you're tested at times in your life. And on December the 6th, the Escambia County Sheriff's Office was tested and found to be exemplary. I mentioned a lot about the response that the deputies had, that the good fortune that we were on the shift change and there were a lot of deputies that were available. The good fortune that our substation is right down the street from there. And the great fortune really in professionalism of the deputies that responded, because they used their training, their expertise, their professionalism, their commitment, and as you said, their courage to kill a terrorist. And it wasn't just the ones that we recognized earlier. There were a number of other people that the stories will come out, life-saving heroics. As I stood there at the scene, you look around and there's, again, broken glass everywhere. Unfortunately, there's blood everywhere. There are, again, unfortunately, there are still dead bodies that are there because of the tragedy that had unfolded. But I can tell you that I have not been more proud to be a part of the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. They did a service to the agency. They did a service to themselves, to their community, and to their country. So I think that when people sit there and they look and they say, hey, you know, that's our sheriff's office did a good job, I think they should go a little farther, and they should say that I'm proud of our sheriff's office. I'm proud that our taxpayer dollars went to that agency, that when they were tested, they were able to do what they were trained to do, and they did right by the sheriff's office, obviously, and by their community. So again, I couldn't be more proud of them. And we continue to say that. But again, there are other deputies that, as the stories continue to unfold, that we will recognize additional deputies as well.
Yeah. Chief, I have to tell you this from an observer of that. Whenever events like this happen all over the nation, generally the sheriff or his staff stand up and communicate not only with the community, but with the country. And I really believe, going back to our original conversation, with your communication skills, that we in Pensacola will be proud to have you stand up and represent us, good or bad, to have you stand up there, because your communication skills are such that we would know the real story. You level with the community. You have that transparency and those skills that I think will make us proud.
We know that that's the key. We were standing there, and people needed to know. People needed to know whether this was a terrorist act or not. People needed to know whether there was still a threat. People needed to know about the deputies that were shot, because there were 2 deputies and 1 NAS police officer that was shot. Right. And so we had literally, as you mentioned before we got on, the national news was there, and we knew that not just our community, but the nation needed to know that that threat had been stopped, and that our deputies were going to be okay, and the NAS police officer was going to be okay. So what we endeavor to do every day is to make sure that the citizens of Escambia County have the information that they need. And as the sheriff, we will continue to do that. We'll continue to be transparent and open, as you said, good or bad. Because by and large, the sheriff's office, the deputies, the men and women that put their lives on the line do a fantastic job. But sometimes, you know, there's something that we could do better. And we'll be frank and we'll be honest and we'll say, we could have done this better, we will do this better.
On an event like this, or smaller events, or larger events, whatever happens, working together is critical. I know not only the Pensacola Police Department, but other agencies you were working with and had to coordinate all of those actions. So I think that's very important. Speak to that. Speak to the cooperation that the sheriff needs to foster with these other agencies.
Absolutely. As I mentioned earlier, in the entire enforcement aspect of things, you've got to be able to work with your local partners, with your federal partners, with the state partners, with U.S. Attorney's Office, State Attorney's Office. I feel like I'm in a unique situation. I was with the Pensacola Police Department for almost 30 years. as a police chief for a number of years, but I was also a member of many task forces, many federal task forces. So I know the inner workings of these relationships and what they can do to make a community safer. And so I will use that experience, not just as a Pensacola police officer, not just as a chief deputy for Escambia County Sheriff's Office, but also in my role as the assistant county administrator. I have been fortunate enough to work with so many great people, and I know the inner workings of all of those agencies, and I know the value of working together, and we can get that done pretty quickly, and you would see immediate results.
Absolutely. Chief, we've talked a lot about cooperation and training and that type of thing. A sheriff has a lot of experience, and my goodness, you've got experience from Pensacola and with the Escambia County, but you need some formal training. I think a sheriff should have some formal training. And let me just kind of go down the list of some of the things that you've done. You're a fellow alumni of Pensacola State.
Yes.
It was a great place to start.
It really was a great place
No
to
doubt
go. You
about
can
it.
get there from here.
You
That's
can,
what they
you
say,
can
yeah.
get there from here. Bachelor of Science, Criminal Justice from Troy State, your Master's in Public Administration from Troy. And we cannot forget this, your graduation from Pine Forest High School, earning the Pine Forest Alumni Hall of Fame Award. That may have to go to the top of the list there. Also, and this is one I've heard you speak about before, you graduated from the FBI National Training Academy in Quantico, Virginia. And I know from talking to you that it wasn't just sitting in a classroom listening to lectures. It was much more than that. Tell us about that training.
Well, it is. It is an advanced level from the certified from the University of Virginia. It is a what they call an FBI National Academy, so that each state gets a couple of positions to go up there. It is a 3-month-long program that you go to, and again, you can get college credit if you wish. I already had my master's degree, so I didn't need that, but I went to the training scenarios. It's not just sitting in a lecture. It is going over real-time investigations, FBI level investigations, federal investigations, from airplane crashes to serial killers and all of that sort of thing. And it's also more of a hands-on approach. We went out there and we went through what they call Hogan's Alley, where they trained. It's basically an entire city where the FBI trains for bank robberies and that sort of thing. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Right.
So what you see, and then you're walking the halls with the FBI recruits themselves, and again, the instructors are top-notch. These are people that have been with the FBI or with their, sometimes they're international trainers. So it is just a fantastic upper-level training scenario for, again, advanced type law enforcement. And I'm honored to have been able to go